and welcome to the news. As usual, Wednesday package is an eclectic lineup of stories with particular interest in the Nigerian, the key choices which shape society and symbolize the nation's key aspirations. We'll be in different parts of the country to keep you up to speed with development stories and trends while x-raying expert analysis on key sectors of the nation's economy. Tonight, National Assembly approves the federal government domestic borrowing request of 1.150 trillion naira. Be fair and factual. President Tinubu charges Nigerian editors to have the interest of the country at heart.
Democracy is sustained not only by elections and laws, but also by the integrity of the public conversation.
And on politics, the People's Democratic Party says no going back on its elective Congress on Saturday. In sports, Super Eagles resume training ahead of crucial World Cup playoff. But have they further jeopardized their chances of qualifying by the recent row after salaries being owed? We have more of this on our sports segment with Badia Adeleye, while Benny Adams will take us to task over tax matters. As we say on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yen Ray John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Towards a better democratic governance and national cohesion in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu has urged media to strive more and play their role with wisdom, fairness and sense of national duty. President Tinubu gave the charge at the opening session of the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference held at the Conference Center of the State House, Abuja. State House correspondent Musbal Danwahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu in his domain, yet a guest here. His presence is seen as significant by the Guild of Editors being the first sitting president to grace this assemblage in 21 years of search. For that long, the top hierarchy of gatekeepers have taken their watchdog role further in shaping national dialogue and direction. The president, also a major player in the industry, commends the role of the media in the defense of justice and good governance since colonial, through military era and to date.
Their sacrifices are part of the foundation upon which our democracy rests today. Yet, freedom secured through struggle is not self-sustaining. It requires constant vigilance and reasonable exercise. A democracy is sustained not only by elections and laws, but also by the integrity of the public conversation. This is where your role becomes central and indispensable as last man standing.
Again, the chief gatekeepers are opening the gate of national discourse ahead of the 2027 transition period with the theme Democratic Governance and National Cohesion, the role of editors. For President Tinubu, this is a necessary national conversation to have, and so urges them to prioritize national interest with objective and constructive critique of government activities, particularly now in an era where the social media have empowered more people the right of way into the media space.
Falsehood can take root before truth has time to speak. In such an environment, the editorial function is more important than ever. Verification must be your anchor. Balance must be your principle. And professional judgment must be your guide. I urge you, therefore, to continue upholding the highest standard of journalism. Report boldly, but do so truthfully. Criticize government policy, but do so with knowledge and fairness. Your aim must never be to tear down what we are building together, but to help build a better society.
As the President expects outcomes of the discussions on this platform, he promises to look into the various challenges inhibiting media sector in Nigeria. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Chineye Wonye reports that speakers at the All Nigeria Editors Conference want editors to see themselves not just as custodians of information and interpreters of events who shape public opinions, but as critical partners in promoting democratic governance, national cohesion, and development.
We must ask ourselves, how can editors contribute to credible election, national dialogue, peace building, and inclusive governance? We are particularly delighted that the President is here.
For the first time in our nation's history, a sitting President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is gracing the Nigerian Guild of Editors Conference with his presence. This is a powerful testament to the high esteem in which this administration holds the fourth estate of the realm. The President's presence reminds me of the long struggle and resilience that have defined the Nigerian press from the colonial days to our tortuous journey to democracy.
When your editorial framing treats every electoral challenge as evidence of systemic fraud, rather than contextualizing it within an imperfect but improving process, you are not being objective. You are making a choice, and that choice has consequences.
Being a media person, being a press man, does not just give you powers, but it confers responsibilities.
Away from editors now, the Senate and House of Representatives have approved federal government's domestic borrowing request of 1.150 trillion naira. The money will be used to bridge funding gaps in the approved budget of 2025. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali reports.
In the reports from the Committees on Local and Foreign Debts submitted and approved at plenary, it was indicated that the 1.1 trillion naira low-interest loan is for long-term capital expenditure and human capital development.
The Federal Ministry of Finance and Debt Management Office should undertake the borrowing strictly within approved fiscal parameters, ensuring that all terms, conditions favorable, transparent, and sustainable.
In another consideration, Senate is proposing 2 months jail term or 500,000 naira fine as punishment on anyone who engages a domestic staff that is less than 18 years, as it passed the Informal Sector Employment Regulation Law. Meanwhile, Senate passed for second reading 3 health-related establishments bills.
The proposed National Eye Center, Boko, will complement the existing National Eye Center in Kaduna
for the establishment of a medical eye center in Mango Plateau State to reenact the National Primary Health Care Development Bill 2020-25 to provide for a comprehensive framework for the delivery of quality, equitable, and accessible primary health care services.
It also mandated committees on electoral matters and judiciary to investigate the delineation exercise in Warri Federal Constituency by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
The coordinates allegedly show that some of the communities are in Edo and Ondo states.
At other engagements, Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions interacted with stakeholders as it proposes raising the capital base of Nigeria Export and Import Bank (NEXIM) to 1 trillion naira and the amendments of the Insurance Act to strengthen the National Insurance Commission as a regulator.
These two bills, they symbolize a broader reform agenda of the Senate to modernize Nigeria's financial system and financial institutions and regulatory framework.
The Nigeria Export-Import Bank is not merely a bank. It is a bridge between our factories and foreign markets.
The bank is chaired by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and we think that there would be a conflict.
Organized private sector. Its involvement in the governance of Nexim Bank will help ensure that the concerns and priorities of exporters, manufacturers, and commercial actors are robustly captured.
The two bills would further consolidate Nigeria's role in the sector on the African continent. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the Senate has refuted allegations of deliberate refusal to confirm Ramat Abdullahi Garba as nominee for the chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission as requested by the president. Spokesperson of the Senate, Adaramodu Adeyemi, cleared the air on the issue at a media briefing. National Assembly correspondent Isa Mohammed reports.
Some protesters from Kano State staged protest at National Assembly gate accusing the Senate of refusal to confirm Ramat Abdullahi as chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission as requested by the executive. Leader of the group, Ahmed Ibrahim Suleiman, said they embark on the protest in solidarity to the nominee whom he said has no any blemish records.
Engineer Abdullahi has over the past decade served diligently. His public service record is distinguished by integrity, competence, and dedication to national development. He possesses the requisite academic and professional qualifications, as well as valuable experience to lead a strategic institution as critical as NAC.
In a swift reaction, the spokesperson of the Senate, Adaramodu Adeyemi, speaks on the delay in the confirmation.
Any questions being raised about your nomination, then your own bit is to come down, just bring everything about you, sum it up, then bring it before the Senate, or it can be brought by a third party. Then we believe that that crowd should have aggregated their views and send it to the Senate, pleading or talking about that person or asking questions about that person.
He said the Senate is careful not to commit another mistake in clearing nominees without adequate scrutiny of documents and clearance on petitions before final confirmation. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Nigerians in Bayelsa State have applauded the Senate for taking bold and proactive steps to curb sexual harassment across the nation's higher institutions. Their commendation follows the recent passage of the Sexual Harassment of Students Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2025, a law designed to protect students from abuse, intimidation, and exploitation by lecturers and school authorities. Doris Akumoye sampled public opinion and files in this report.
In what could simply be described as a turmoil on the flesh of most female students in Nigerian universities appears to largely be noticed by the society, which calls for urgent public attention. So, with the Senate approval of 14 years jail term for sexual harassment in tertiary institutions, will protect students from all forms of sexual misconduct and abuse within the academic environment. Stakeholders who lauded the move noted that it will inject a healthy working pattern and relationship among lecturers, knowing that they are being monitored.
It is an aberration that a lecturer will now seduce a student for math. For what?
The protection of the lecturer on the other way around, because sometimes these things don't just come from the lecturers alone. Students tend to expose themselves for such incidents.
Despite the sanctions therein, many are of the opinion that issues of drug abuse should be tackled among students, which is responsible for immoral behavior and indecent dressing that harass seduction. While the blame should not be attributed to parents alone, stakeholders stress the need for students to be committed to the academics and reduce shortcuts in assessing grades.
They should concentrate to read their book. That is their number one reason why they are there as students. Then the university environment, they should try as much as they can also to curtail these students' lecturer friendliness.
So parents, in most cases, should not be blamed. Parents are doing their best, train you in your primary school, train you in your secondary school, home training, teach you how to cook, then discipline you how to greet elders, how to behave, how to dress decently.
The bill, which was enacted to promote and protect ethical standards in tertiary education, however, called for effort to redeem the image of erring institutions to foster sanity in the academic environment. Inyeregoa Doris Akumonye, NTA News.
And still on education, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has reminded government of the 1-month window given to it to conclude negotiation to avert resuming the suspended strike. National Executive Council of the union reviewed progress made since the suspension of the warning strike 2 weeks ago and rejected a proposed salary increment which is not capable of achieving the reversal of the brain drain syndrome that has bedeviled Nigerian university education. While noting that gaps have been closed in some non-monetary aspects of the contention, the salary and conditions of service components remain critical. In a statement signed by the President, Chris Piwuna, the union therefore calls on stakeholders, especially bodies that intervened and impressed on it to suspend the strike last month, to continue to urge government to faithfully conclude the negotiation. Meanwhile, vice-chancellors of Nigerian universities have decried the death of academic manpower rearing its ugly head in the institutions due to the Jagba syndrome in recent time. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the House of Representatives Committee on University Education pledged to intervene to address the trend during an oversight to University of Calabar and other federal universities in the South Zone.
The engagement between the committee and the management of University of Calabar involves document scrutiny, putting forward observations in some critical areas.
Despite the huge challenges we still have in terms of funding, in terms of staffing, especially with the restriction on the employment of staff, as it were, university is a system where we do not need to have restriction.
At the University of Uyo, the committee identified breaches in the nominal role, violating federal character principles, and inconsistency in the utilization of budgetary allocations.
Do you have currently any policy on examination?
But we have blended and then say, let's move with the society, CBT. CBT entails running of generator, buying of diesel, and many other things.
We're also surprised that the total personnel cost for 2025 is put at 73 billion 339 million 477,254. How many do you have? How many staff do you have to have incurred a personnel cost of 73 billion?
The committee was also at the Federal University of Technology, Ikot-Abasi, and faulted the management on its remittances of 25% to the federal government and other infractions. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA.
And still talking education, the national policy on language has been cancelled and English now adopted as the official instructional language for education. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, made the confirmation during the Language in Education Conference in Abuja. Zenret Dingbun has all the details.
Today, let us reaffirm these hands are communicating an important message to a special set of people, depicting the essence of this conference: language, education, and inclusion, empowering every learner, and working to meet communication needs in education. These crop of language experts and academics from across the globe converge to escalate the issues of language in education, restructure the national language policy framework, and eliminate the gaps in implementation, with particular focus on regional, state, and community needs and support strategy.
We had evidence-based that if you teach students in their mother tongue, especially in the early pre-primary school and the first 3 years, they do better. But then, let's now look at the context of implementation and the result that we're seeing. We'll share ideas, we'll share what we've seen happen, real life, what has happened previously, and where we need to go into the future.
Now with the language policy, what we are trying to do in terms of the foundational literacy and numeracy, that is of course the aspect of teacher capacity and training. We have a holistic teacher capacity training package, a digital package for all teachers.
We work across all areas of education in terms of supporting teacher professional development, school leadership, language proficiency.
For these efforts to yield the desired results, the push for language inclusivity must shift focus from national policies and strategic blueprints to collective community action to help secure a thriving future for Nigerian learners. In Abuja, Zenra Dingmun, NTA News.
Let's now take a break. There's more news shortly. Stay with us.
Of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action.
Fresh for up to 30 days. Godrej Air Pocket. Bye-bye bad smell. Hello sweet fragrance.
Many thanks for staying with us. Governor Mande Okpebholo assumed office as the 6th Executive Governor of Edo State on the 12th of November 2024 with a promise to add value to the well-being of the citizens. 1 year down the line, correspondent Goodluck Inaini x-rays some major achievements.
Year 2025 was a year that saw the people of the state taking delivery of major projects, just as policies initiated by the government of Senator Mande Okpebholo impacted on the people. Education sector received a boost with the recruitment of 5,000 teachers, while dilapidated schools were renovated, equipped with laboratories and functional classrooms. The higher education sector also witnessed significant renewal, while the adoption of the federal government NEL Fund program ensures that no child is excluded due to financial hardship. In the health sector, government initiated other laudable policies and programs, just as work on the Stella Obasanjo Hospital are being finalized.
This one was abandoned for many years.
We would do our best to see that within short time, between now and Christmas, this place should be activated.
The period under review witnessed massive road constructions and reconstructions across the state, a development which many say has aided economic activities. Significance of these is the ongoing flyover bridges at both Ramat Park and Adesua along Sapele Road. The agricultural revolution of the state government meant to boost food security is paying off. With the launch of Operation Flush Out Kidnappers and Cultists to combat insecurity in the state and to facilitate the operation's mobility and effectiveness, government provided high-tech vehicles and motorcycles for patrol and tactical operations. Life imprisonment and demolition of property linked with kidnapping were among punishments stipulated by the new anti-kidnapping law. The transport sector came alive with the reintroduction of the new Edo line in Benin. Goodluck Inaini, NTA News.
Away from Edo State, let's head to Zamfara, where a political organization known as Wamban Shikafi Democratic Front has endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for second term, CAM 2027. This was during the organization's stakeholders meeting presided over by an APC chieftain, Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi. Correspondent Jamilu Ibrahim Guso has more.
The Wamban Shinkafi Democratic Front is a political movement of the former Abuja gubernatorial candidate in Zamfara State and now a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi, with well-established structures across all the 147 wards of the state. This is a congress of the political group with participants drawn from across the 14 local government areas of Zamfara State. The meeting held in Gusau and presided over by Dr. Shinkafi discussed matters arising as they relate to activities of the movement and those of the APC in the state and the country as a whole. Endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a second term by the political group featured prominently at the meeting. The chairman of the Wamban Shinkafi Democratic Front, Yusuf Abdullahi Mada, moved the motion to that effect and was seconded by a woman leader.
I second the motion that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, should be endorsed by Wamban Shinkafi Democratic Front as a consensus candidate for our great party.
This was eventually put to a voice vote for members of the Congress.
On this note, for all the members of Wamban Shinkafi Democratic Front, hereby unanimously resolve and ally ourselves to the meeting of 1st November, where the critical stakeholders of the party met and endorsed Tinubu as the only and the sole and the consensus presidential candidate.
Officials of the organization from across the state who took turns to speak at the meeting reaffirmed their solidarity with the political movement and the APC leadership at all levels. They, however, emphasized the need for the party to ensure justice and fairness in fielding candidates for the forthcoming 2027 general election in Zamfara State. During the meeting, Dr. Shinkafi announced the dissolution of the Executive Council of the political movement at all levels as new leadership of the organization is built to emerge in due course. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Still talking politics, the PDP elective national convention scheduled for this weekend in Ibadan, Oyo State, will hold. The National Working Committee and Convention Organizing Committee of the party gave the assurance in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf was there.
The fate of the PDP elective national convention scheduled for November 15 and 16, 2025 in Ibadan, Oyo State has been that of uncertainty as courts in Abuja had stopped the convention and ordered INEC not to monitor the exercise. Another court in Ibadan, on the contrary, ordered the convention to hold. PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba, however, urged members to disregard misleading claims being peddled to the contrary by some individuals to stop the PDP National Convention.
We focus on the convention. Everything is going on well. Even as we speak, other than this, the convention committee secretariat is agog, bustling with activity because we are going to convention.
Meanwhile, party stakeholder and former presidential candidate Benga Olawepo Hashim, after delivering a lecture at a national conference on the future of democracy in Nigeria held in Abuja, enjoined the major opposition party to put its house in order and work towards performing its role.
I believe that PDP will put itself together. Maybe the party will have a caretaker committee where people can have a unity convention. I am ready, I'm disposed to facilitating reconciliations.
Political parties, he believes, have struggled as only agents of state capture rather than delivering on democratic ideals, urging the PDP to rediscover itself towards future electoral victory. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Bayelsa State Governor Doyediri says he will not force his deputy, Lawrence Erujakbo, to defect to his new party, but will rather appeal to him to see reason and join him in APC so that they can operate under one political umbrella. Diri made this known during the State Executive Council meeting at Government House in Yenagoa. Timonipre Ohia reports.
Governor Doyediri says he will not compel his deputy, Senator Lawrence Erujakbo, to join him in the All Progressive Congress, APC, but will continue to engage him for his understanding to do the needful already. The governor disclosed that the deputy governor has agreed to withdraw a suit filed against the State Assembly, Chief George and Attorney General of the state over a purported impeachment.
I won't tell you the details I have with my deputy governor. We will continue to talk.
because it is actually very difficult for the governor to be on one side and the deputy to be on the other side.
The governor also dispelled rumors of security threats in the state, describing them as false, and assured that Bayelsa remains one of the most peaceful states in the country. At the meeting, the Commissioner for Health, Professor Seifa Brisby, presented to the governor the recognition of Bayelsa as the best state in health insurance service delivery by the Nigerian Governors Forum, while his counterpart in the Ministry of Sports, Dr. Daniel Igali, also presented a Distinguished Governor Award for outstanding support to SWAN and contribution to sports development in Nigeria. In Yenogwa, Timinepri, or here, NTA News.
Let's look at other news as the public, especially the Honorable Commissioners of Information and National Orientation in the 36 states of the Federation, the FCT permanent secretaries, as well as other stakeholders, are hereby notified that the 49th edition of the National Council on Information and National Orientation meeting, earlier scheduled to hold in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, from the 12th to 14th November 2025, has been postponed. All inconveniences are highly regretted, as a new date will be communicated in due course. Now, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badr Abubakar, says the welfare of Nigerian troops remains a top priority of the federal government. The minister stated this during a news conference in Abuja preparatory to the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration.
This administration continues to implement a series of welfare measures to ensure that our personnel serve under dignified and supportive conditions.
And be rest assured of any officer on local duty be protected. I will not have anything to do.
He also reveals that the ministry is developing a new initiative tagged Reclaiming the Ungoverned Space for Economic Benefits program. The program aims at engaging retired military veterans in restoring security and driving economic growth in areas previously affected by insurgency. And still looking at security matters, the 2025 Regimental Sergeant Major Convention of the Nigerian Army is ongoing in Enugu State with the theme Capturing Exemplary Professional Leadership for Improved Motivation and Operational Effectiveness in the Nigerian Army. A Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidu Shaibu, at the opening said the Army is maintaining unit discipline, boosting the welfare and morale of the field soldiers to be combat ready to eradicate insurgency in Nigeria. The report is here presented.
Declaring the Regimental Sergeant Major Convention open, the Chief of Army Staff, represented by the Commander Armored Corps of the Nigerian Army, Major General Omar Abubakar, said the convention is aimed at enhancing operational capabilities, addressing security challenges, and upholding Army values, discipline, and traditions.
The Nigerian Army has continued to demonstrate unwavering commitment and make profound sacrifices in the defense of our nation's peace.
This singular gesture reflects the confidence of the Chief of Army Staff in our division's capacity and commitment to the ideals of the Nigerian Army. It is our expectation that the lessons drawn from this gathering will cascade down to every battalion, company, and platoon in the Nigerian Army.
The biannual convention has in attendance regimental sergeant majors from across the Federation.
Away from security matters, of course, we know what season we're in, and Lagos is set to experience the Kingdom of Lights, a spectacular transformation that will showcase the city to the world this Christmas. The event will feature an African Santa, a vibrant street carnival, and performances by talented artists. It is expected to attract tourists from across Nigeria, United Kingdom, and other parts of the world, boosting the state's tourism potential. The initiative is driven by the management of Eco Hotels and Suites in partnership with brands such as Zenith Bank and Mortina. Amaka reports that this was revealed at a press briefing held in Lagos to publicize the event.
The Yuletide is close, and it's that time for families to take a break from the hustle of the entire year. Eco Hotels and Suites is unveiling the Kingdom of Lights and the tropical Christmas experience that will be all fun, fostering tourism activities and family bonding.
Tropical Christmas Wonderland was initiated, and from the inception was for us to tell Christmas the African way. So for the last 7 years we've been doing that.
What a hotel is doing is drawing attention to all these tourism potentials of Lagos. And of course, by extension, I'm sure it's going to go all over Nigeria as it gathers momentum and gets stronger on the ground. No, for me, I think it's a wonderful thing a hotel is doing. We should congratulate them. Like somebody said, they should get an award for a special way of promoting tourism in Nigeria.
The collaboration between great brands such as Eco Hotels and Suites, Zenith Bank and Mortina provides a unique platform to portray the African culture and the beauty of Lagos to the entire world. Several activities have been lined up, such as the magic show, music, dance, fashion, theatrical experiences, street carnival, and much more.
You know, AI is already teaching Santa Ili how to dance and boogie on the streets, Makosa style. We're shutting down the street, and everybody needs to come out and be a part of that. Everybody. There's also the Owambe Royal Banquet. King Kai, Iyanka, and the Bamboo Queen are hosting the finest banquets. In fact, we have started delivery to the families on package already with their ashwebis, and everybody is going to dress up looking regal.
Organizers say the Eco Hotels and Suites vicinity and environs will be transformed into what they call the Disneyland of Africa. In Lagos, Samaka Owo, NTA News.
The Ministry of Finance Incorporated Morphe Real Estate Investment Fund has been listed on the Nigerian Exchange Limited to raise funds of up to 10 trillion naira to tackle housing deficit and provide adequate housing for numerous Nigerians. Amaka Owo again reports that this was stated by the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, who rang the closing gong on the floor of the exchange to commemorate the listing of the financial instrument on the exchange.
The sound of that closing gong by the Minister of Finance commemorates the listing of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated Real Estate Investment Fund on the Nigerian Exchange Limited at the 100 naira per unit. Appreciating the role of the NGX in boosting the economy, the minister says that the sole aim of the listing is to enable Nigerians imbibe the investment and savings culture while providing access to affordable housing.
By bringing a channel, which is the stock exchange, to stockbrokers, a channel that allows not just those who are extremely wealthy, but those who, ordinary Nigerians, but who have the desire to save for the future, we have made it possible for them. And the challenge is that with around 8 million pension fund savings accounts, RSAs and PFA accounts.
Executives from the Ministry of Finance Incorporated and the ARM speak on the 20-year mortgage plans at 9.7% interest rate.
We crossed the 1,000 mark in terms of over 1,000 mortgages have already been written on the MRIF, and the momentum is growing. We have a pipeline of over 30,000 applicants that are being processed.
Development is at 75%. We promise to give Nigerians who are interested and can afford to take mortgages on such properties.
We have a platform in place that allows the average Nigerian access this investment.
The Morphe Real Estate Investment Fund initiative is part of the efforts of the present administration in building a $1 trillion economy. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
We have more stories on finance and the economy after the short break. Don't go anywhere. Bill that could revolutionize Nigeria's cocoa industry. This follows President Bola Tinubu's transmission of the National Cocoa Management Board Establishment Bill 2025 for expeditious consideration by the Green Chamber. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpe has details of this and other resolutions at Wednesday's plenary.
After decades of decline, there's hope for revival of cocoa production in Nigeria with the presidential request for the establishment of a National Cocoa Management Board. The executive bill is perceived to be a game changer in promoting competitiveness of the cash crop and the quest for economic diversification.
The bill seeks to establish a National Cocoa Management Board to regulate, promote, and harmonize cocoa-related activities across the country and for other connected purposes. The establishment of the board will enhance effective coordination of the cocoa value chain, improve standards, and strengthen Nigeria's participation in the global cocoa economy.
Still on agriculture, the House resolved to look into challenges affecting domestic rice production and the closure of rice mills around the country.
The unchecked smuggling of rice through porous borders has made legitimate operators uncompetitive, compromised food safety, and emboldened criminal activities. The country may be losing billions of naira due to the closure of most of these rice mills.
An ad hoc committee was set up to investigate federal government landed properties and buildings abandoned across the country.
National Library Building, Abuja, Nigerian Newsprint Manufacturing Company Building, Kaduna, Kaduna Textile Building, Nigerian Aluminium Smelting Company, Delta State, etc. Federal government can rescue some of the landed properties and buildings and projects through private-public partnership.
Lawmakers also queried non-compliance with some provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act.
Many oil companies failed to fund the host community development trust as incorporated and have not been able to pay the sums equal to 3% of the actual annual operating expenditures to the host communities trust funds in their areas of operations.
30 bills passed first reading at Wednesday's plenary, including the National Mines Rangers Establishment Bill 2025. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ikpe, NTA News.
Many thanks, Mitari, for the update. Let's now get to our business corner, where Benny is standing by to feed us. Benny.
Well, thank you, Nyeri. And still talking in business, and Nigerians outside the tax net or those not paying their taxes, as at today, have been advised to use this period and update their records before January 1st, when the new tax law will take effect. This was at an interactive session by tax experts on the theme, the Nigerian Tax Act 2025, Embracing Fiscal Transformation for Sustainable Development. Speakers x-rayed issues around challenges of implementation, equity and inclusivity, as well as incentives, while appreciating government commitment towards ensuring transparency and the reassurance that all revenue collected will be judiciously utilized.
The focus of the tax regime now is voluntary compliance. You determine what you are supposed to pay, proceed to relevant tax authority, be federal, state, or otherwise, to go and pay. No tax person will worry you, but if you don't pay, perhaps the law will take its course.
So the ideal thing is that every citizen should pay their fair share of taxes. It gives you the right to ask government questions, what they are doing with your money.
So the idea is that people should just learn to collaborate with government, be very patient, ready to ask appropriate questions, and let us see how what revenue that is collected could be used to address most of these issues that we have been talking about that government needs to provide.
Well, and still talking reforms, it is clear that Nigerians are in the season of learning, unlearning, and relearning as new reforms in tax, bank recapitalization, and fintech continue to reshape the country's financial landscape. Stakeholders here say there is the need for more insight and simplification of these complex systems, helping ordinary Nigerians understand how the changes affect their pockets. With the theme, Nigeria's New Financial Landscape, Reforms, Risks, and the Road to Wealth Creation, speakers here share practical ways to turn policy into prosperity.
The
heart of ISA 2025 by introducing enhanced disclosure requirements, stricter corporate governance standards, and accessible redress mechanism, just as we have mentioned about the Ponzi scheme. Before now, you can tread on Ponzi and get away with it, but not any longer. If you are caught, stiffer penalty awaits you, up to imprisonment of 20 years or more.
This points out that our financial system is evolving. And with that, the rules, the risk, and the opportunities that define how our wealth is created and sustained would also change. So the system is evolving rapidly, decisively, and continuously. So as it evolves, so must we. The reforms that we're seeing now are not just abstract. They affect how you save, how you invest, and how you run your business, and ultimately, how you secure your financial future.
BN stands at a time where micro, small, and medium enterprises are more or less left out. They are perceived at high risk. So as a result of that, the DBN comes in to support banks for further unlending to MS.
And now look at the markets at this point. The bulls are actually back, having re-emerged in the Nigerian Stock Exchange market. The first in November, as the all share index rose 2.88%, as market capitalization also increased by 2.59 trillion naira to 92.68 trillion naira. GTCO closed with the highest volume with 104.78 million units traded, while Aradel closed with the highest value amounting to 12.91 billion naira. The South African JSE Top 40 was next with 1.57% increase in volume as well as value, while the Tunisia Tune Index recorded a marginal gain of 0.34%. That is it on Business Tonight.
Many thanks, Benny, for that. Now, in a bid to cushion the effect of temporary shutdown of its factory at Awomama, the Nigerian Breweries PLC has built and donated a cassava processing plant to people of the host community. Awomama, Uru East local government area of Imo State, Kate Osunwa, reports that the company's major product is their 3-3 lager beer.
I declare cassava processing plant.
The 2 tons per day cassava processing plant built and donated to the people of Awomama community by Nigerian Breweries PLC is to boost the economic opportunities in the area.
We thank Nigerian Breweries for realizing this good potential of cassava as a driver of rural development.
The representative of the Imo State Governor and Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Dr. Res Angunobi, commended the initiative, stressing the need for the brewery to resume operations to create more job opportunities.
While commending them, we will not lose sight of the fact that for the past 2 years, that the Nigerian Breweries Awomama is closed down. Through partnership with the state government as the host state, we can be able to resolve all those challenges.
Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Breweries PLC, Thibault Boyden, and other top staff explained that the Cassava Processing Center is part of the company's commitment to complementing government efforts in boosting food security and uplifting lives.
Comprehensive needs-based assessments was conducted in collaboration with community stakeholders. The assessment highlighted the critical need for sustainable, revenue-generating project to mitigate socio-economic.
We are confident, we have faith that the market will restart. That's why we are keeping the brewery, as we call it, in push-button state.
The equipment installed at the cassava processing plant includes 2 automated cassava fryers, grinder separator, and the 30 kV generator, among others. The project, which is to be managed by the community, is capable of processing garri for both local and export purposes. Nigerian Breweries PLC's donation is a significant boost to the economy of Awomama community and a testament to the company's commitment to corporate social responsibility.
Elsewhere, Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya has suspended 2 traditional leaders in Gombe State for their alleged inadequacies in the security breach that led to the death of 2 persons. Emmanuel Akila reports that the suspension is announced after the State Expanded Security Council meeting.
The Gombe State Expanded Security Council meeting comprised of officers of national security agencies, paramilitary personnel, traditional leaders, and members of the State Executive Council. Gombe State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and the Deputy Chairman of Gombe State Council of Emirs and Chiefs briefed journalists after the meeting.
But unfortunately, we have this incident here in Funakai, resulting to the death of a village head son, and also a police security agent was killed. And that is why the governor called the meeting immediately before the thing escalates.
The traditional rulers are supposed to be on top of any situation when it comes to security, especially at the local level. So the council viewed the failure of some of the traditional rulers have led to the deterioration of the situation. And to serve as a deterrent, the Security Council decided to impose some sanctions.
Other matters discussed in a meeting chaired by Governor Muhammad Ino Yahya include enforcement of agreement between herders and farmers during harvest season and regulation of activities of scavengers, among others. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
The Department of State Services has filed a 6-count charge against a 27-year-old man, Innocent Chukwemeka Onukume, for allegedly advocating military coup in the country. In the charge filed before the Federal High Court in Abuja, Onukume, who resides in Rivers State, allegedly committed the offense in October 2025. The DSS alleged that by conduct of the defendant, he allegedly committed the offenses bordering on public order and national security. The defendant will be arraigned in court soon. And still in the courtroom, the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja has adjourned hearing in a 5.5 billion naira defamation suit instituted against the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, by 2 aggrieved operatives of the Department of State Services to November 24, 2025. The adjournment at the instance of the court was due to its inability to sit. At the resumed hearing of the matter, SERAP, as the defendant, will be expected to open its defense. Counsel to the claimants, Akinlolu Kende, SAN, who filed the suit on behalf of the 2 plaintiffs, expressed optimism that the matter would proceed on the next adjourned date, when SERAP is expected to open its defense. The 2 claimants alleged that SERAP defamed them with claims that they unlawfully invaded their office, thereby putting their reputation as law-abiding security operatives in jeopardy. The claimants are praying the court for 5.5 billion naira as damages. Let's talk health. The federal government is charting new strategies to strengthen domestic health financing, sustain previous health achievements, and extend development initiatives to the grassroots. Sub-national governments are also urged to prioritize investments that address community health needs in pursuit of Sustainable Development Goal 3, Health for All. These commitments are part of the key resolutions reached at the 2025 Joint Annual Review meeting. Olusheye Adiagbo was there.
Key stakeholders in Nigeria's health sector gathered for the 2025 Joint Annual Review Conference, a platform designed to assess sectoral performance, review progress, and chart actionable strategies for sustainable healthcare delivery.
The theme of this year's JAR, All Hands, One Mission, bringing the Nigerian health sector to light, is an unwavering prompt for us to do more in our shared vision and collective responsibility to improve governance, enhance population health outcomes, unlock healthcare value chain.
Let this week be redefined by constructive commitment, a commitment to finance our future.
Reliable statistics are the compass by which we navigate.
Leaders of the health sector used the event to present progress made under the Health Sector Renewal Compact.
We must consolidate the gains, sustain the financing, and continue to expand health insurance coverage, especially for the poor and vulnerable. Above all, we must continue to strengthen the primary healthcare system itself.
The federal government also reaffirmed commitment to addressing remaining gaps, particularly in healthcare financing.
For Nigeria as a whole, under the able leadership of the President, we have to look at where we have come from and succeeded in turning things around for the better.
The strategy is working. And one of the things that maybe should be a takeaway here is that all of us should articulate what can we do to put pressure on the three tiers of government.
A major highlight of the conference opening session was the signing of a new health sector compact by government representatives, development partners, state officials, and other key stakeholders.
All hands, one mission underscores the shared expectations and collective responsibility of everyone involved, ensuring that commitments made at JAR 2025 are transformed into tangible results. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
The Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation has expressed concern and sadness over the abduction of some civil servants around Kaba, Kogi State, while traveling to Abuja to participate in the ongoing computer-based tests promotion examinations conducted by the Federal Civil Service Commission. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, D.D. Esther Wilson-Jack, on behalf of the entire Federal Civil Service and the wider public service family, expresses heartfelt sympathy and solidarity with the abducted officers, their families, and their colleagues across ministries, departments, and agencies. Wilson-Jack expresses confidence in the ability of the security agencies to ensure the swift and safe rescue of the abducted civil servants, while urging all civil servants and members of the public to remain calm and vigilant. We have more news, but there's one more break. Stay with us. Let's talk agriculture now, as the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, in collaboration with the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, has launched the Nigeria Post-Harvest Systems Transformation Program, codenamed NIFHAST. The flagship initiative is designed to revolutionize food storage and drastically reduce the massive post-harvest losses plaguing the country. In this report, Musa Babalayu examines the program and explores its potential impact on Nigeria's food security.
This is a local silo that farmers commonly use to store grains after harvest. Omar Sanda, a farmer in Mekunkele, Niger State, said the storage facility can hold 500 to 2,000 kilograms of grains for 12 months. However, economists say the storage facility is not 100% effective given the high rates of post-harvest losses in the country. This trend is set to change dramatically with innovative interventions introduced by the federal government. The flagship initiative is designed to drastically reduce post-harvest losses nationwide.
NIFHAST is designed to strengthen post-harvest handling and storage systems from the community level upwards, creating an integrated network that connects farmers, cooperatives, and strategic reserves across the country.
The program is built on 3 tiers. 85% intervention will go to smallholder farmers. 10% will focus on secondary processing, and the remaining 5% will modernize tertiary level, linking public-private partnership with commodity exchange.
Food security in Nigeria means food security in a number of states or countries around us. So the work we need to do should be far more than the ability to feed nearly 400 million people.
Officials emphasize that the transformed system will play a pivotal role in stabilizing food prices and protecting millions of Nigerians from seasonal shortages and inflationary pressures. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And away from agriculture, ending sexual and gender-based violence just got easier with the presentation of a joint declaration by leaders of faith and culture to prevent gender-based violence in Nigeria. Elizabeth Omori reports that the move, championed by a gender advocate, aims to drive safety, challenge inequality, and address root causes of gender-based violence.
Sexual and gender-based violence are a global concern that needs collaborative and intentional approaches to tackle. Here is a courageous survivor who was sexually abused by her own father. Her home became a place of horror, but today she found hope.
So I did of 8, my mom saw when my dad was raping me. She wanted to call my dad's people, but my dad begged her. So she forgave him, saying that she's trying to protect her marriage.
Perpetrators of the violence are not only the boys that were not trained by parents. Parenting is mostly left for the mother, and that is where the error starts. And so everybody who participates in the birth process must be responsible in giving basic values to help protect society and improve on the economy of the nation.
Initiatives like this give survivors a chance to heal and find purpose. This forum brought together faith and cultural leaders from Nasarawa, Niger, and the FCT to address this issue.
When those who shape values, our religious leaders, our cultural institutions, our community elders, choose to stand against violence, the entire community shifts.
My role is to pick out those norms and culture that promotes gender-based violence, and then ensure that we build alternative cultures and norms.
They recommend strengthening of laws to punish offenders and breaking the silence to tackle SGBV. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Let's pause briefly. Please stay on. Thank you for staying with us. In less than 24 hours, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will face Gabon in a decisive World Cup qualifying playoffs that could possibly determine their fate in the 2026 World Cup as they go through the hard way in Morocco. Suleiman Musa takes us through the Super Eagles 2026 World Cup qualifying journey.
For the Nigerian Super Eagles, the journey to the 2026 FIFA World Cup has been nothing but smooth. What began as a promising campaign soon turned into a roller coaster of mixed emotions and uncertain results.
Said finds Adams, good skill, and a good finish too! Well, what a way to start your career at senior.
It all started in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. A disappointing 1-1 draw against lowly rated Lesotho left fans puzzled and frustrated. Then came 2 back-to-back draws, first against Zimbabwe and then against South Africa. Despite parading some of Africa's and the world's best talents, Nigeria Super Eagles struggled to find rhythm and consistency. With 3 different coaches steering the team during the qualifiers, the Eagles' flight seemed turbulent.
So to our own side, we are working very hard with the Sports Commission to ensure that everything goes well.
At the end of the group stage, Nigeria finished second in Group C, just 1 point behind South Africa, collecting 17 points from their matches. Now the focus shifts to the decisive playoff, a do-or-die clash against Gabon.
I won't say I'm going in with full confidence against Gabon. Gabon has their own talents that we haven't seen. They have their own talent pool, but we have the best in Africa.
Having played 4 games, the first 4 games, out of 12 points that we're supposed to gather, we were able to get 4 points. But along the line, when we realized that we need to just be at the World Cup, we buckle our game.
Since their historic debut at the 1994 FIFA World Cup in the USA, the Super Eagles have only missed out twice, in 2002 and 2022. The team remains one of Africa's most consistent and celebrated sight on the world stage. As the playoffs kick off in Morocco, the stage is set for fireworks to claim the final World Cup ticket.
Looking to create one here. Good looking ball in! And it's there! It is the hat-trick! It's that man again! Victor Osimhen! How does he do it?
For the Super Eagles, there will be no excuses this time. The nation expects a dominant performance, one worthy of Nigeria's rich football heritage. Can the Super Eagles soar once again? From Uyo to USA, from frustration to redemption, the answer lies in Morocco, where destiny awaits.
Great question. Can the Super Eagles soar again? I don't have the answers. Well, let's find out if Buddy has some answers for us. Buddy?
Well, Yeri, I think they should do the talking on the pitch tomorrow. Now, let's begin straight away and let you know that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have returned to training in Rabat, Morocco, ahead of Thursday's 2026 FIFA World Cup African Playoff semi-final against Gabon after resolving issues affecting their match bonuses with the Nigeria Football Federation. Although the exact details of the agreement between the players and the football administrators were not disclosed, the development appears to have calmed tensions within the squad. Eric Chelly's men boycotted what would have been their second training session on Tuesday in protest of unfulfilled promises by the NFF over their entitlements. The development means the Super Eagles trained only once with the entire squad before the crucial game.
I'm 100% sure we'll get the job done, but I also want the boys to, in as much as, you know, they've asked for their money, and which is their right and the right thing to do, and it's even the right time. But, you know, I still want them to put that aside, you understand, and go out there and give their 100%. Like I said the match against Benin, the last game, if they can do copy and paste, I'm telling you, that's just what we need at this time. The way they played against Benin, the fighting spirit, you know, the passion, the energy. You see, Nigerians, you know, that match gave Nigerians hope.
Right, from Morocco straight to Benin Republic, where Nigeria's under-20 women's national team, the Falconets, defeated host Benin Republic 1-0 to seal a perfect campaign and lift the 2025 WAFU Zone B Under-20 Girls Cup on Wednesday. A 16th-minute strike from Ramotalai Karim, her fourth goal of the tournament, and the highest tally proved enough for coach Moses Adiku's side to secure victory. And of course, the win meant the Falconers finished the tournament unbeaten, winning all 4 matches, scoring 10 goals and conceding just 1, highlighting their dominance in the competition, with midfielder Kafayat Oluwatosin earning the Woman of the Match award for her standout performance. And of course, that does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to Yeri. And of course, Yeri, will be watching the Super Eagles match tomorrow. It's live on NTA.
Of course, I will be watching, but of course, I don't know. I just hope I don't break down while doing that. Many thanks, Buddy.
You're welcome.
Vice President Kashim Shettima condoles the Zawzaw Emirate Council and Minister of Environment Balarabe Lawal over the demise of his mother, describing her as a source of inspiration to many. Lawal Salau Inua reports that the Vice President was received by the Emir of Zawzaw, Malam Ahmed Nuhu Bamali. The delegation was in the state on the directive of President Bola Tinubu to extend condolences to the Emir of Zawzaw, Ahmed Nuhu Bamali. The minister and the entire Zawzaw Emirate describing the passing of Hajia Diabatu as a great loss to the entire nation. Before proceeding to the minister's family residence on arrival in the ancient city of Zaria, Vice President Kashim Shettima made a brief stopover at the palace of the Emir of Zawzaw to pay homage and extend President Tinubu's condolences to the royal father. Prayers were offered at both the palace and the family house of the deceased for the repose of her soul. Now, the death has been announced of Reverend Daniel Nwakwo, who passed on at the age of 90. A statement by the first son, Deacon Chijioke Nwakwo, indicates that the remains of Reverend Dan Nwakwo will be laid to rest on Friday, November 14, 2025, after a funeral service by the United Evangelical Church at Umbano Central School, Umwekechi, Asa, in Ukwa West Local Government Area of Abia State. Reverend Wako in his early career was a school teacher and contributed to human development between 1954 to 1976. And as a leader of the then Nigerian Union of Teachers, helped in rebuilding the education system after the Civil War in Abia State. Reverend Dan was a minister of God at the United Evangelical Church, where he played a leading role in the historic transformation of the church. He's survived by a wife, 6 children, grandchildren, and other relatives. Also, a special prayer session has been held in honor of the late Chief of Staff to 2 former presidents of Nigeria, Major General Abdullahi Muhammad Adangba, with a call on Nigerians to emulate his dedication to communal and national development. The Kwara State Governor, Malam Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, was among other dignitaries that graced the Fidal held at the Ilorin Central Mosque. Abdul Hafiz Alaya's report is here presented.
Members of Ilorin Emirate Council, political and religious leaders, as well as sympathizers from within and outside Ilorin, converged on the ultramodern Ilorin Central Mosque to pay their last respect to the late General Abdullahi Muhammad. Imam Muhammad Bashir Saliu led other religious leaders and sympathizers in the prayers for the repose of the soul of the deceased. The Grand Mufti of Ilorin, Sheikh Suleiman Onikijipa, and the Grand Mukadam, Sheikh Damborono, in their separate lectures, described the late General Abdullahi Muhammad as a philanthropist and a role model everyone should strive to emulate. To the people of Ilorin, Kwara State and Nigeria, the death of a man whom many described as a fine soldier, a silent achiever and unifier has created a vacuum that will be difficult to fill.
We need to learn from the legacies he has left. He was one of the most powerful men in Nigeria. It shows us something. It's not about the noise we make, it's about the work we do. He was a private person.
And that's it on News Extra tonight. Many thanks for investing your time with us. Do have a good night.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless,